I'm your host, Santy Hernandez, and I am here with
your co-host, Kimberly Escobar.
I'm so excited for this week's show in honor and in celebration of Earth Day. We're going to be talking about what is happening in our environment here in Marin County, and we will also be sharing how we can continue to keep our Earth healthy and how we can help our Earth, because climate change, whether you believe in it or not, we are seeing and experiencing a lot of changes in our environment. So we're going to be talking about that. But first, to kind of get us into the conversation, I want to ask Kimberly, what is your favorite place to hike in Marin?
My favorite place would be where I live. I live by China Camp, and there's a lot of like hiking trails. I feel like a lot of people don't know that because I've told people like there's trails in China Camp, and you like have to like park in this like there's like parking for you, and there's like so many different trails you can go on, and it's so pretty. Like you literally see like views of the ocean, and like you walk through forests. It's so pretty. And yeah, that's my favorite place. What's yours?
That sounds awesome. I love walking and hiking in China Camp. I used to run there until there was a lot of bikers. But it's very pretty. Like you said, it's very, you get a little bit of everything. My favorite place to hike is Mount Tam or Phoenix Lake around there. It's very pretty, very,
Lake?
It's going towards, oh, that's a good question. I don't know exactly the location. I just know how to get there, but it's very pretty. You should look it up.
I've never heard of Phoenix Lake.
Yeah, it's where the reservoir is of the water, which I will talk about later on in the show. But you can walk there, you can go on a hike, and it's very pretty. I love the water. So you'll see the water that people drink. Like the water that's there is what is going to the community, which is really awesome. Yeah, and
is it like there's like a huge waterfall of water just like gushing down, and there's like a bridge where you can cross?
Yeah.
I've been there. I just didn't know.
Very big. There's multiple reservoirs, but the Phoenix Lake is one of my favorite place to go when it comes to like walking and hiking. You get a little bit of everything, and you can fish there. But it is interesting to see that that's the water that a lot of people drink in our community. But that's awesome. To those who are watching or listening, definitely go check these places out. They're very beautiful, and they're like well, depending where you live, but for me, China Camp is like 10 minutes to drive. So enjoy the nature. Speaking of water though, just kind of getting into the conversation of Earth Day. Earth Day is to celebrate our home, right? Earth, it gives us air, food, and a place to live, to be very honest. And we have to share our home with different types of species of animals. And right now, just to kind of bring to awareness to a lot of people, and we talked about this before, is that right now in Marin County, we are in we don't have enough water right now. If you go to Phoenix Lake, you'll see how that there's not a lot of water. And so to be able to take care of our Earth, we have to be cautious about how we save water, how we use our water. So in Marin Water's Board of Directors, they declared a water shortage emergency on April 20th of 2021, so last year. And they are restricting water so we don't waste the water. And right now, for example, at my house, we're not allowed to turn on the sprinklers at a certain time. Like we can only do it during the evenings or early in the morning, not in the middle of the day, because what happens is because of the sun, it will dry out the water really fast, and the plants won't receive that water. So to all of you out there, it is Earth Day. Our home is very beautiful, but we also have to remember that there's a lot of things that society, everybody has done that has caused us to be in very, very critical situations. And one of it is water. We don't have enough water. So just keeping in mind that we need to take care of our water and be cautious about how much water we waste. I know a lot of people sometimes take 30-minute showers or even an hour of taking a shower. And so part of the Marin water restrictions is taking a very being cautious of how long you take in the a shower, and making sure when you brush your teeth. There's a lot of people that when they're brushing their teeth, like they turn on the water and they're still brushing their teeth, but they're not using the water. And the water that, the water that you're letting out is so important. So just doing small things like turning that off, and taking a not a long shower, being cautious of the restrictions that are out there um to help reserve our water, because we do need water. And unfortunately, a lot of people think that our water is infinite. It's not. The reality is not. We live in a community, and we have to be aware of that. But that is the main thing that's happening here in Marin. And one of the reasons why we want to focus on what's happening here is because this is where we live. This is where we can do something. Sometimes it is hard to do something that spreads all around the world, but we first have to start where we are. So to find out more information about water and how you can help and to protect our water, go to marinwater.org to get more information. They have amazing resources. And fun fact that I didn't know, if you go on their website, they actually provide free things so you can reserve water, which I didn't even know. So for example, they have resources on how you can figure out if you have a pipe that is broken or something, and the water's leaking. So there's so many resources for everyone in Marin County to find out more. Go definitely check their website out. But on my end, that's all I have for our water. I'm handing it off to Kimberly, who has more information about something else.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, we should all watch the water. I remember I was driving by in like San Marin in this, I forgot what the lake is called, but I was like with one of my teachers, and she told us that that water is like part of our drinking water. And there was like no water in that lake. Like it was so empty. And I was like, wow. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that really quick. And so I'm going to be talking about an oil spill that happened in Richmond, February 9th, 2021. So this was like roughly a year ago, but it's still pretty relevant now because the case is still ongoing. And so the company Chevron in Richmond's refinery Longworth spilled oil 4,000 feet into the bay from the Chevron complex. They had stopped and contained the spill roughly 2.5 hours after it started leaking, which is kind of a long time for them to let it keep on going. It's because it was a little hole in the pipeline that they said it was like about a nickel, like it was like about as big as a nickel. And they contained the oil spill with a boom, which is, they use the containment boom, which is a temporary floating barrier used to contain an oil spill. Booms are even used to reduce the possibility of polluting shorelines. And after all of this, like Chevron did not like really speak on the incident, and there wasn't as much like news about it. Like when I was searching it up, there was like only from after like a month after it happened, and then none like afterwards. There's only one from like 8 months after the incident. And they said that even 8 months later after the spill, Chevron did not talk about the spill and what happened afterwards. And then I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but Chosky Chung said, unfortunately for the environment and public health, there is a critical window to learn from the mistakes and prevent future oil spills. And sadly, that window may be closing. This only led to the Area Air Quality Management District issued a public nuance notice of violation against Chevron, in which a board meeting will be held this upcoming June. So it did basically take more than a year for them to finally have a proper board meeting, and like Chevron didn't get sued or anything. So this is, I'm pretty sure, like their way of showing that they're gonna like try and sue them in some way for that. And oil spills like this happen over and over again. These oil companies stall investigations so people end up forgetting about it. Chevron had only done 6 follow-ups on the incident, which hasn't given much insight on why the pipeline broke, so they never really said what happened and like how it happened. They know they know what the oils do to the sea life, and this causes long-term ecological effects. Oil spills are harming the expansion and growth of animals affected by it and killing them. It has also been said that pipeline failure investigations ideally take months for the information to be released. So it does take a long time for the companies and like for them to get notice and like to spread news about it. So yeah, that's all I have to say for that spill.
Thank you, Kim, for sharing all of that amazing information.
That was a lot of information.
It is.
I was like,
but that is a local situation that happened, and unfortunately, like you mentioned before, oil spills do harm animals because, like I said earlier in the show, we're sharing the earth. We don't live here on our own. Like, humans are not the only ones here. We have birds. There are many creatures in the ocean, and you can also, you know, if this was so much bigger, you can compare it to Deepwater Horizon. I don't know if you've heard of that one, where again a pipe, an oil pipe spit, like there was a huge spill in the ocean, and it harmed a lot of animals. And so definitely being aware of how safer these could be for us and for the animals that we live with, right? And I love, like, it's oil and all of that. It's a huge like, it's a huge debate between different people. But again, we want to make sure to bring this up because Earth Day is bringing awareness of where we are in our environment and all of this, right? A lot of people on social media just post the beautiful stuff of sunsets and kind of like the beautiful things about nature, which is awesome. But we also have to be aware that there are a lot of things that are happening in our environment that is very, very, very sad. And I also want to mention coral reefs. I don't know if you know what a coral reef is, Kim?
Yeah, I do know what it is.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't know, it's basically an underwater ecosystem characterized by reef building corals, and these are home to a lot of different species in the ocean, and they are basically like the lungs of our ocean. They bring life, and they have a lot of creatures that depend on these coral reefs. And due to the pollution in our oceans, a lot of these coral reefs are dying, and when they die, it affects the whole ecosystem in the water, right? And that basically it affects us because it's a chain, right? From those small species to the fish that we eat, all of that has a big connection. And so just being mindful of the things that you can do to protect I don't want to say protect anymore, because at this point, with how far society has come, we've done a lot of damage to our planet. Now it's just about helping our planet. How can we help? Because a lot of people have said it before, years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how if we don't do something, our planet is gonna completely change. And we're already seeing the results of that. So it's just really, how can we help? How can we live with all the creatures around us, right? Living with them. How can we work together to make sure that we respect everything that's around us? Just bringing that in as well. And right now, to give a few announcements before we jump into the other one. So there is this event coming up, and it's called The Warrior in You. It is decolonizing, and it's an event about decolonization and mental health in the Latinx community, and it is run by let me see. It's part of College of Marin, and it's on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's at the Academic Center, room 255 at the Kentfield campus. So if you want to go, definitely recommend it, and talks about decolonization and also relates to a lot of traumas that a lot of Latinos have. As you all know, we're all Latinos are a mixture of cultures. So definitely would check it out. I think our producer Javier will put information on the chat there. But yeah, make sure to check that out. And back to our conversation. I think for us as the youth, it's our responsibility to educate ourselves and see what we can do to keep our homes safe and clean for us and the future generations, because we are the future. I don't really like saying that, but we are technically. We have to fight for our home. With that, we're going to be talking about ways that small things that you can do during your day that play a big impact in our environment. And I don't know if Kimberly wants to start with the first one. Do you want to start with the first one?
Yes. Yeah, I will. The first one is don't use plastic water bottles. Buy reusable water bottles. Like me, I have my reusable water bottle with me. And next one is take your own bags to the grocery store. Don't take one if you don't need it. And my mom also, I know your mom does this. My mom also does it where she just takes already like reusable grocery bags, or she just has like those like tote ones, like just the reusable ones, and she uses those as well. Did you want to add something? Because I knew you were like saying something about it.
Yeah, so it's crazy how much plastic bags we use. And like you said, we could use those. If you have plastic bags, plastic bags take forever to decompose. And when they decompose, those little tiny particles still take really long time to decompose. And that goes into our oceans, which then goes into the fish. And then that's the fish that we eat. So it's a whole cycle, and it's crazy to see that. So definitely using your own bags to go to the grocery store. Sometimes you forget. I totally understand that. But if you can, for the majority of the times you go to the store, definitely take a bag with you. And water bottles, right? The reusable water bottles, they are very helpful because you're preventing from putting in more plastic into our environment. And yeah, recycle things that can be recycled. So following those guidelines of like, this is paper, this is compost, and this is the trash, right? So using that, and a lot of people don't ask if that is very helpful. It is very helpful because at times they can reuse certain things and put back into the for it to be used. So instead of creating new ones, they use that to be able to create other products. And you can find the labels, and they say that these were made from recycled things. And so what you're doing is preventing from new plastic or new other things to go back into the environment.
Wait, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that just reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's this video that like I saw, and you know how like when you go to fast food or like a restaurant and they have like the bins, and then it says like recycle, compost, and all that. And so in the video, the person was like throwing it like to like recycle it basically. And then he opened the bottom and it was all the same trash. Like the trash bin was all the same, yet on top it shows like they're all different. And I just wanted to say that like companies also, like a lot of companies should like change their ways of doing that and like stop, like they're trying to like show that they're like environmental friendly in some way, I guess, but like a lot of them, I feel like you should check and then like maybe like complain in some way to the company, because that's like just harming it, because then they ended up just throwing it out and then it just goes to the ocean.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know if you've seen that video.
I haven't, but that's also what I wanted to mention. And it's know where things are going and know where you buy your products and what you're consuming. And what I mean by that is sometimes we're in this society in general, and the media is always like, buy, like this product, this product, this product. And they get to you. Like, think about, it's not your fault at times. These companies hire people, use science to get for you to buy things, but just remind yourself that know where these products come from. Ask yourself if these products were, did they harm the environment, or were they made in a way that affects other communities as well, right? So being aware and kind of being cautious of what's going on. Make sure that you have control of what you're doing, right? Of what you're buying, what you're using, making sure also, like, a lot of people, the skincare product that you use, the products that you're drinking, make sure that they're also good for you too, right? So just making sure of all that, knowing where things come from. One thing that is very important to me and that my family has taught me is planting your own food if you can. If you have the opportunity of planting, I don't know, tomatoes or jalapenos or something, that really does help the environment, because you're avoiding going to the groceries, but and you're planting your own. Something that I just learned recently too is, if you're someone who has an EBT card in California, you could actually use that card and go to the farmer's market, and you can purchase, which is really nice. So 95% of the businesses in the farmer's market accept EBT payments. So if you want to have very support your local farmers and also get the best food that you can get and help the environment, I highly encourage all of you to go to your local farmers market, because those are planted here, and it's less, so the food is not being transported in a long distance, and that causes the footprint of your food to be bigger, right? The carbon footprint. So if you can, I know for a lot of people, it's like, it's very expensive, but the good thing is that I found out is that EBT can be used in a farmer's market. So if you didn't know that, which I just learned about that. And then next one, I'm going to give it to Kim, because she did mention that she does donate her clothes. So I want to ask, where do you donate your clothes?
So I go to I volunteer for the food distribution on Saturdays at Kerner Boulevard. And a lot of people, me and like a lot of other people, we donate our clothes. We just like put it up front, and a lot of people take it. So it's being reused in a lot of ways. And also, like, sometimes other people donate clothes, and I sometimes take the clothes if I like it. And that helps me to not also like go out and go buy something, because sometimes, like, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is cute. And then if I thought in mind that, like, oh, I wanted to get this, like, I already got something. So if anything, I'm not sure if every distribution accepts clothing. I know that some don't because of the pandemic, but if you ever want to donate clothes, you can come leave it on Saturdays at 34200 Kerner Boulevard. I'm pretty sure it is, and you can donate it there or at any of what are they called? The green bins? What are they called again?
I don't know, but I do know Goodwill does accept it in downtown Sarasota.
Yeah, there's those green bins. I forgot they're called. They're
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the actual name of it. So part of being cautious of protecting the environment is, when it comes to fashion, again, we're always buy, and we're not conscious about what when we throw clothes out, where do they go? How does that process work? And a lot of the clothes that we throw out is put into piles and piles in different other countries, and it's just sitting there. So a lot of the recommendations of people is donate your clothes so that they can be reused for other people who can't afford it. And just doing that cycle of not putting in new stuff in the environment when you can reuse certain stuff, and shop wisely. So the fast fashion industry, if you want, definitely look it up, get more information about that, how that does play a big role in the pollution in our environment. So definitely the clothes we use also has an effect in our home. And also using long lasting light bulbs. So for a lot of people, which I wasn't aware of, that it's very, you can buy eco light bulbs, and some of those last for a really long time, and there's different type of light bulbs. So shop very wisely, find other ways that you can, make your home, when you come home, you're like, my home is a place where I know I'm not polluting as much. And it's very, I won't say that you're gonna go all green, because it's really hard to do that now, but definitely there are things you can do, small things that you can do that play a big role. If I do it and Kim does it and Javier does it and other people do it together, it does, it's a lot. So just doing small things. And do you want to do the last one?
Yeah, sure. So the last one is limit car usage and your oil usage. And if you're able to, you can walk or use public transportation. I know a lot of people wouldn't like using public transportation, but I think like if you're going like literally like just like for like example where I live, like if I'm just going downtown, like it's like easily, because like most of the buses like drop you off like mainly where you need to go. And if you just want to go to like the grocery store that's near you, you can simply just walk and then take a little cart with you. Like, those little carts, they're so cute. I like those little carts. But yeah, you can do that. Do you want to mention anything?
Yeah, as a person who loves cars, this is where I try to keep a balance in my life. Like I said, it's really hard to be 100% green and eco, but there are things you can do. And I'm guilty of sometimes taking my car and going to places where I'm like, you could walk. Like my house to Safeway, I take my car almost all the time. And when I remind myself, hey, you can walk, I'm like, oops, and so just definitely keeping a balance in your life and seeing what you can do. There are places where, you definitely need your car, which is understandable. Just keeping in mind that if you can walk there, go for it. And it's also good for you. It's not just good for the environment. You get,
little exercise.
exercise. So it's like a win-win. And sometimes we just need a little reminder of that. Like I said, I am guilty of doing some things that I'm like, hey, you could do better, but I also do other things that I always try to take reusable bags to the store, my water bottle. I do my best to find go to the farmers markets and stuff like that. But I am also like, in other areas, I'm like, I need a little more work. But just as a reminder, we do only have one Earth. And I know there's a talks of like going to Mars and things, but we do have other creatures and animals that rely on us, because we have done a lot for the environment. So we got to remember and continue to protect it. And just to kind of like, I love, one of my favorite things is watching films and documentaries and things that help me to understand more. And I asked the Tay team, like, what are films that you've watched that remind you or that have helped you to be aware? And I love how Javier, producer, mentioned WALL-E from Disney, that if we don't take care of our planet, the how WALL-E is, that's gonna be our planet. So just watching, you could watch WALL-E. There is another documentary called Fast Food Inc. that you can check out. There's also Racing Extinction, which I love that film. I watched it in middle school. You could watch that. And then you could also watch Seaspiracy, which is on Netflix, and just find out more information to educate yourself and to see what you can do to continue to help our environment. Do you have any films, Kimberly, to add?
No, not that I can think of. I wanted to mention something really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like a little announcement in a way. That there's going to be a cleanup tomorrow at Pickweed Park and Canal. April 23rd at 10 a.m. at Pickweed Park. And I just wanted to also say that like if you see little trash when you're walking or something, you can and you're able to like pick it up, and like you see a trash can, I feel like that's like a little difference that you can do. I always do that when I'm walking, and whenever like some of my I'm not trying to put out my friends like that, but some of my friends, they just throw the trash and I'm like, what are you doing? I tell them like, go pick it up.
Same.
Yeah, I just want to say a little difference, and that this like community cleanup, just because it's like a one-time thingy, you shouldn't think of it as like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, but like just think of it every time when you see trash and you're able to pick it up and throw it away. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, Kimberly. I always confuse your names.
I know.
Thank you so much for all of your what you shared. And like you said, small things do make a difference. And it's not just my home, it's our home. So being cautious and doing things to make our home beautiful. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week again, Friday at 4 p.m. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.